Society often treats the pursuit of civic power as a moral taint, a dirty endeavor that contradicts democratic life. In reality, power is completely neutral. It functions with the exact same mechanical indifference as thermodynamics or gravity. In a civic system, power is the measurable capacity to compel a community to make specific choices and take specific actions. Treating systemic change as a moral crusade ensures a high rate of failure. To alter a system, you must first approach it as a structural engineering problem. History is full of energized grassroots movements that surged forward with massive support, only to stall against unpopular, entrenched regimes. Willpower and moral clarity are rarely the missing variables. Movements usually fail because they target the regime's most fortified structures, attacking exactly where the state is designed to be strongest. Modern reform requires algorithmic asymmetry. Success relies on weaponizing alternative forms of power, rather than attempting to match an opponent's primary strength. This strategy requires us to abandon 19th century ideological maps and dissect the actual functional nodes of civic power. The survival of a movement now depends on navigating this asymmetric matrix. The old political labels have become irrelevant to the physics of the system. Civic power is generated by exactly 6 fundamental, measurable sources. The first node is physical force, the control of the military, the police, and the capacity for violence. The second is wealth, the concentrated resources used to buy systemic results. The third is state action, the bureaucracy, legal institutions, and laws used to dictate public behavior. The fourth node is social norms, the peer-to-peer cultural software that governs what a society deems acceptable. The fifth is ideas, concepts that alter human action by generating boundless internal motivation. The sixth node is numbers, a concentrated mass of humans asserting collective legitimacy through sheer presence. These nodes govern every form of government, yet they are rarely distributed equally between a state and its citizens. Entrenched regimes maintain power by strictly monopolizing the top 3 nodes: force, wealth, and state action. Grassroots movements often fall into a symmetric trap. Attempting to match a regime's wealth or navigate its bureaucracy consumes energy without breaching its fortifications. Algorithmic asymmetry ignores the top nodes entirely. Instead, movements exclusively weaponize the bottom 3: norms, ideas, and numbers. True civic strategy engineers a bypass through the system's blind spots. While the mechanics of power are constant, the terrain where they are deployed has shifted. Most political discourse still relies on this 19th century left versus right spectrum to navigate reality. We now operate in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Rapid technological shifts and economic volatility have rendered traditional, linear political models obsolete. Relying on a rigid left-right map in this complex environment is a systemic vulnerability. Modern citizens no longer align with these historical categories. A voter might demand aggressive market competition to fuel technological progress, while simultaneously requiring massive safety nets to manage the fallout of that progress. Traditional parties are structurally incapable of processing these overlapping contradictory demands. Forcing modern complexity into binary boxes leads to systemic paralysis. This dynamic is best understood through a systems thinking metaphor from urban planning, the public park. Rigid concrete paths represent traditional ideologies. They dictate exactly how citizens are supposed to behave. When these predetermined routes ignore how people actually move, they create immense societal drag. Designing the solution, the concrete, before observing the actual problem guarantees failure in a volatile world. In reality, citizens eventually abandon the pavement. They cut across the grass to find the most efficient route to their goals. Planners call this a desire path. It is the visual evidence of where a system actually needs to go. In a volatile world, sudden obstacles appear instantly: economic crashes or rapid technological shifts that block existing routes. An agile system waits and observes how people navigate the new obstacle. It paves the route people have already forged. Strategic organizations track organic human problem solving rather than demanding ideological compliance. The organic trails of a desire path are built from the bottom nodes of the power matrix. An idea defines the new destination. Social norms validate the shortcut. Human numbers turn a single footprint into a permanent, institutionalized route. A free system is measured by its mechanical ability to process and institutionalize these desire paths from the bottom up. When fueled by ideas, norms, and numbers, these paths become an unstoppable civic force that flows around the rigid fortifications of the state. Defeating an entrenched regime is impossible if you use 19th century maps to plan your movement. Civic leaders must act as systems engineers. Success requires identifying the organic desire paths and fueling them with asymmetric power. Civic power operates as a form of applied physics. Success belongs to those who observe the machine's actual function.